Having a baby changes you. Who you were before is so different from who you are now. You become responsible for another tiny human being. And so how you see the world completely changes. If you don't recognize this change, if you keep seeing your partner in a different light, this just widens the difference between you and your partner and could actually end up losing that relationship. Because here's the statistics I always share with couples, because it instantly shifts how they understand the season. The Gottman Institute found that about 2/3 of couples, that's around 67%, experience a significant drop in their relationship satisfaction in the first 3 years after having a baby. And this isn't because they don't love each other, and it's not because they're necessarily doing anything wrong, but it's because this transition to parenthood is one of the biggest emotional and relational shifts of their lives. And the earliest signs show up in that first year. We see more conflict, there's more intensity, there's more misunderstandings, and less connection with each other. So if you've ever thought, why is this so hard? Or are we the only ones struggling? Nope, you're not. You're definitely not alone in this. You're experiencing exactly what the research predicts. So if you've ever caught yourself thinking, I'm not the same person I was before the baby, and I don't think my partner is either, it's because that is completely true. And honestly, remember when that biggest fight you had was about where to get dinner at night, and then the baby comes along and suddenly you're arguing about who's more tired and why the dishwasher is loaded wrong, right? Here's the truth that no one says clearly enough. Having a baby does change you, and not just your schedule, not just your routines. You change, your partner changes, and your relationship changes. And that change is not a sign of failure. It's actually a sign of transformation, because before baby, you did have more freedom. You had more sleep. You had more space to repair any conflicts you have. And then almost overnight, actually overnight, most of the cases, your world reorganizes around meeting the needs of this tiny human. And your identity completely shifts. Your capacity shifts, your stress levels shift, and your partnership shifts. So none of this means that anything is wrong. Again, it just simply means that you're in the transition to parenthood. But here's the problem. If you try to navigate early parenthood while expecting yourselves to be the same people you were before, you start misreading each other. And you might think things like they don't care, or they've changed, or we're not a team anymore, or maybe even basically it feels like we're just roommates. Emotional distance grows quietly, slowly, and unintentionally. And if we don't address it, it becomes the erosion that leads to even deeper disconnection. And again, not because you don't love each other, but because no one really prepares you for this transition. So let me tell you about a couple I worked with recently, because they're like a lot of couples that I work with. And we're going to call them Minnie and Mickey to make this easy. But they came in and they were exhausted and they were overwhelmed. And Minnie said, I feel invisible. I feel like I'm doing everything. And I feel like Mickey doesn't even see me. And Mickey said, well, I feel like I can't do anything right. No matter how much I try, it just feels like I'm failing over and over again and making Minnie angry. And here's what I saw. It wasn't that they had a broken relationship. It was two people grieving what they used to be in a relationship while they were desperately trying to become parents that they wanted to be. And when they finally were able to say out loud, like, wow, we're not the same, and that's okay, everything actually started to soften. And their tone with each other changed. Their empathy opened up for each other, and we were able to build on their teamwork. And that simple truth just really created a space for them to repair. This right here is one of the reasons I wrote my book, Happy with Baby, Essential Relationship Advice When Partners Become Parents. Because so many couples come into my office feeling exactly like Minnie and Mickey. They're deeply in love with each other, with their baby, but they're really struggling to stay connected in the chaos and the exhaustion. And in the book, I break this transition into 3 pillars. It's taking care of yourself, taking care of your relationship, and taking care of your family. And these 3 pillars really guide everything I teach, including what I'm about to share with you guys here next. So if any part of Minnie and Mickey's story feels familiar to you, again, you're not alone and you're definitely not failing. You're in the middle of one of the hardest and most transformative seasons a relationship can go through. So let's talk about what can help you feel closer, feel more supported, and more like a team again. And if you want more guidance, I've actually linked a free resource below called Celebrate Your Relationship in Small Ways. It's full of simple, meaningful connection ideas you can use even when you feel exhausted. All right, so let's get into it. This season stretches every part of you. Sleep is one of the first things to go, and it's the thing that impacts everything else the most. So let's start there. And this is why I always tell parents that even one chunk of 5 to 6 hours of sleep can change everything. We have solid research showing that when adults dip down into that 5-hour range, which happens frequently when you have a new baby, the brain really struggles. Your patience drops, your emotion regulation drops, it becomes harder to think clearly or to even communicate well. And studies show that getting 6 hours or less actually makes you about 2.5 times more likely to feel overwhelmed or distressed. So think about how that affects us when it happens day after day, week after week, and sometimes for months. And here's a big one. When couples are sleep deprived, the same argument feels sharper, louder, and often more painful. And not because there's anything wrong with the relationship, but it's because your nervous systems are maxed out. And so here's the takeaway. If you can protect one uninterrupted stretch of sleep for each of you, it's not going to be perfect sleep. It's not 8 hours of sleep, but just one block of 5 to 6 hours. That one stretch can change the tone of your entire day and the tone of your relationship. And then number 2 is name the season. There is something powerful about acknowledging the truth of where you are. Naming the season, like Minnie and Mickey, helps you let go of the pressure to be who you were before baby. And it's also giving you the freedom to grow into who you are now. So I want you to say out loud, this is a hard season, because this simple phrase is going to reduce the pressure and help increase your compassion. And the 3rd is personal time. When you become a parent, your world becomes so small and so big, all at the same time. And you cannot show up as a good partner if you never get to be your own individual person. So building in small pockets of time just for you, whether it's a walk alone, coffee, time with a friend, a hobby you enjoy, this is not selfish. This is how you take care of your family, because we know a regulated, grounded you is such a gift to your relationships. And the 4th is stress. One of the fastest ways couples escalate is when each person is drowning in their own stress alone. Stress can make you feel like you're living 2 different experiences under one roof. So check in with each other, ask each other what's overwhelming you today, or what would help lighten your load. How can we team up this week? This moves you out of me versus you and into us versus whatever the problem at hand is. And it's going to keep you aligned so the stress pulls you closer instead of pushing you apart. And this is what it means to be a team, even when things are difficult. Number 5 is appreciation. New parents rarely feel seen or valued, and both of you are doing so much, and most of it's invisible, let's be honest. So say the things out loud. I saw how patient you were at bedtime, or thank you for getting dinner started. I love how the baby just melts into you. These small acknowledgments build emotional safety, and they help create a sense of being on the same team. And it's going to help soften that space between you, because feeling seen brings people back to each other in ways that often big gestures just can't do. And then the sixth one is connection. This doesn't come from big romantic gestures, definitely not in this season anyways. Connection comes from the tiny, repeatable moments, small things often, whether it's a 10-second hug, a quick check-in at the end of the night, just sitting together after the baby falls asleep. Tiny, predictable moments remind our nervous system that you're still connected, even when life feels chaotic. And then number 7 is comparisons. So easy in this season to look at what the other person is doing or what other families are doing and feel left behind. So stop comparing who's doing more, whose job is harder, and how other couples seem to manage, or how your baby sleeps compared to somebody else's. There's no fair way to do this. So instead, I want you to check in, like, what's your capacity today? What do you need today? Or how can we make this easier for each other? This curiosity is going to help connect you, whereas comparison disconnects you. And then number 8 is relearning each other. Becoming parents reshapes you. It reshapes your partner, so it makes sense you're both discovering yourselves all over again. And you can ask each other, what feels different for you now? Or what helps you feel close to me? What support do you need that you maybe didn't need before, baby? And this is how you build this updated version of your relationship, the version that fits where you both are today. Again, you don't have to get this perfect. You don't even have to get it right every day. You just have to be intentional. And these small steps help create big shifts in how you feel, how you communicate, and how you move through the season together. And then number 9, the 9th tip is the mental load. So much of what happens in a home after baby arrives is unseen. When it stays invisible, resentment builds quickly. So I want you to sit down together and I want you to list everything each of you is doing. Again, not to keep score, but to understand the whole picture, the meals, appointments, schedules, planning, soothing, cleaning, all of it, right? And then I want you to ask, what feels fair? What feels heavy? And maybe where can we rebalance some of these things? Because if you can redistribute based on capacity and not habit, and definitely not on gender, everything on this list supports you in the exact places new parents tend to struggle: your sense of self, your relationship, and your teamwork as a family. So you don't have to get all of it right. You just have to practice it with intention. And if you want more simple, meaningful ways to reconnect in this season, just grab my free guide to celebrate your relationship in small ways. Again, you don't need to go back to who you were before the baby. You're not supposed to, because becoming parents reshapes you individually and as a couple. So with honesty, compassion, and teamwork, you won't go backwards. You'll just grow into a deeper, more resilient version of your relationship. So if you're wondering, okay, but how do we communicate better when we're exhausted? That's exactly what we're talking about in the next video. So look right up here and click on the video. If this video was helpful, be sure to download the free guide below. I am always here cheering for you.